We've never seen that kind of an assault by a president of the United States on another branch of government, and that can never happen again. What we already know does constitute the gravest violation of his oath of office by any president in the history of the country. And this is not something that we can simply look past or pretend didn't happen or try to move on. We've got to make sure this never happens again.
David Plouffe, how should Democrats use that testimony from Liz Cheney?
Well, I think, Nicole, there's not as many as there should be, but you do have Republicans in the House and Senate and others throughout the country who've said the right thing about this. So I think you want to lift this up. This is now a bipartisan impeachment process, the most bipartisan one I think we've ever had in the country's history. So, yeah, I think you want to lift up those words. But, you know, my hope is there's some reporting that Democrats might be considering pulling their punches a little bit because it looks like there's not going to be the votes necessary to convict. I hope that's not the case. I think this is a very important week for the country to lay it all out there. As we talked earlier, there's going to be more to come. And at the end of the day, if Donald Trump's not convicted, he may not ultimately run for president again in 2024, but we had better assume that's a live possibility. So he needs to pay as full a price as possible, and his key adherents and organizers over the weeks and months to come, because if Trump's not convicted, he and all those who played a role in this need to have their wings clipped as much as possible so that they can never seek, much less hold, the Oval Office. I
mean, just to follow up, David Plouffe, if you look at where he was let off, where he felt like he beat the system, it emboldened him. The day after Mueller released his report, he called Zelensky, the conduct for which he was impeached the first time for abuse of power. Every time and we used the wrong words, we called it violating a norm, but every time he violated his oath of office, to be blunt, he got away with it because Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy didn't have the spine to hold him accountable. This seems like an opportunity to decide which way the Republican Party goes. And David Plouffe, I don't care anymore what they do, because I want to know. I want them on the record. I want to know who is for lawlessness. I want to know who is for subservience. Do you think the vote boils down to any more than that from Republicans?
Well, that is the question, Nicole, both this week and really, I think, in our politics for many years. You're either on the pro-democracy side or the pro-autocracy side. And Donald Trump didn't violate norms. Of course he did. He was trying to destroy the country. He was trying to destroy the Constitution. We've never had a person in this country, the power he has, basically spend their entire time in office trying to poke and prod and see where the weaknesses are and see what he can get away with. And if there's not accountability for what happened in the weeks leading up to January 6th and then January 6th, we are going to have another coup attempt. There's going to be more election results that people say we can just ignore. We see what's happening in Arizona. They're trying to pass laws that say the state legislature in Arizona, no matter what the election results were, no matter how they're certified, if they don't like the result, they can say it's overturned. That's where we are today. And so I think that is the question. And it takes everybody, Democrats, Republicans, independents, people who haven't been involved in politics, get on the right side of that. Or, this entire enterprise, I think, is under existential threat.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.